off the mark. Gather round sovereigns, we're navigating our pineal glands with Meeks, Kali, and Tootie Odin, reclaiming our native lands. We're off the mark.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Off the Mark. This is episode 23 of Off the Mark. So if you've kept up with us so far, thank you so much. If you have not, and this is your first time, thank you as well. I am your host, Tootie O, and with me as always is my beautiful, gorgeous co-host, Miss Meeks Kali. How are you, my dear?
Hello. Love y'all. I'm so excited for this episode. Gonna do a little something different.
We are. I'm really excited, actually. Really excited. So this episode, we decided to kind of take off the barrier of the news. As you see, I have my fun earrings on. They're fun. What we're going to do in this episode is play a little game. We want to do a 21 questions. I have created 10 questions that Miss Meeks Kali has no awareness of. She doesn't know what these questions are.
I don't know.
Every single one of them random, every single one of them left field. And Miss Meeks Kali did the same for me, and I'm excited to see what she's going to ask me. I'm also a little bit terrified, so we'll see what happens.
As you should.
Yeah, this episode, again, we understand if you guys are watching us, if you are followers of us, faithfully and loyally, thank you guys so much. We just wanted to take a breather and wanted to do something just a little bit different. Again, as I said, the questions are left field. This episode's going to be a little bit left field, but at the same time, it's going to be fun. At least I hope it's going to be fun. So it'll be a little bit of an experiment, and we hope you guys just enjoy the ride with us. So that being said, how should we do this? What do you want to do? Coin flip?
It's the only fair way.
Coin flip, indeed.
Yep.
Okay.
As it is.
I have a quarter.
Oh wait. So should I call it?
You call, and I have the actual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll call it in the air.
I'll flip it in the air as you call it in the air.
Okay.
I think that's how they do it, right?
I think that's how they do it. Heads.
And it is tails. Hold on. Time out. Tails.
All right. We're not lying. Okay. Fair enough. You go first.
Okay, so, and it's usually heads, by the way. It's like 83%.
I thought I almost
heads.
went tails and I didn't.
It's like 83% heads. I always choose heads. I would have went heads too. So
I usually do tails, and I was like, I'm gonna win it this time though. Switch things up.
Okay, so first question is gonna be softball. Okay, just because. So question number 1 for Miss Meeks Kali. What is your astrological sign, and how does it coincide with your own personality?
That is a wonderful one. So I am a Libra. I am on the crux of Virgo, and for Libras, it's all about like partnership and balance and harmony and having like beautiful things around and stuff like that. But I would say definitely like the harmonic like balance of things is one of my most defining characteristics. I think that's even why I strive so much with like this podcast and everything, because I'm like, that's not fair, you guys. It needs to be, it's like Marge when she's like everything should be coupled. It should come together. I like it when things are entwined.
You're a little bit of a perfectionist, but in a very sweet, graceful way. You're a ballerina about it.
It's okay if things like aren't perfect, as long as they're imperfectly like balanced.
Yeah, you see a lot of that too. Okay. Okay.
Like that guy did this, but that guy did that. Even Stevens. We call it spits. Very nice, very nice. I actually had a similar question that I won't say for later. It wasn't going to be my first one, but I'll just kind of like piggyback and ask you now is how do you Pisces, right? Because like you are a very empathetic and emotional folk. And so just to like let other Pisces out there know like some like 101, how do you do it?
And okay, so that's a really good question. That's a sucky question at the same time. Okay, so the other day I hit up a mutual friend of ours because he's also a Pisces and he's very empathetic, and there was no one else to talk to. So I read a story about a recent TikTok female, and I don't want to get too dark too quickly, but she asked the question, so I got to do what I got to do. This 18-year-old girl committed suicide and did a farewell video on her TikTok and this and that, and she ended up passing away. And her mother left this beautiful, heartfelt note about her and to her, and how she wasn't ready to lose her, and everything. And I was floored. I was gone. I felt every bit of that mother's emotion and every bit of her hopelessness, and the idea of being lost. I remember feeling lost, and it kind of sucks because it's not to I'm not better than anybody else. I don't claim to be. In fact, these are emotions I hide very well. I don't know how many times Miss Kali has ever seen me cry, but I don't think it's been very many. I don't.
They haven't had reason.
Yeah,
to.
it's always in private, and the thing is I have to take that away with me. And I think most empaths and maybe most Pisces are that way, where they wear the emotions on their sleeve when it's convenient for them. But for the most part, we have to sit there and we have to swallow everybody else's energy and everybody else's emotion. I think Pisces is at the end of we're the very end.
The feet of the astrological.
So what's known about Pisces is that we're actually a little bit of everybody in the zodiac sign. So we're kind of like we were able to adapt. We can adapt to personalities. I myself have grown up in my youth mimicking other people's laughs. Just because, like, the more you're around somebody, the more you laugh like them, and the more you act like them, and the more you imitate their things. And it's not because you want to be like them. It's just something that naturally happens that you soak up. And I think that's I don't know if it's only a Pisces trait, but I've only seen it in Pisces who are able to sit there and we are the manual to the automatic.
Wow.
So we get to steer our own ride and kind of just take it where we want to. But that being said, like it's hiding emotion is more of the challenge than it is to feel it, because we feel it all day and every day. Like I remember being in 19, 20 years old. I went out to eat with my boyfriend at the time, and we saw this really lonely, heavyset guy who was sitting there and eating. We were at a buffet and he was eating by himself. And I remember just being crushed. Like, he was by himself and he was and he was like, and I remember going home and like talking about it all night, and like I couldn't let it go. Like, man, like we should have sat with him. We should have just went with him. We should have just sat with him. Like,
oh wow.
And like I remember, like I couldn't let it go. And I still remember exactly what he looks like, what he's wearing. So like, it's not easy. It's not easy, but at the same time, we have to
kind of like a superpower.
Improvise and adjust those emotions so that they don't filter. And that's not always easy. Sometimes they come out through anger because you're so pent up with all this sad emotion that it doesn't come out in the right ways. And that's an amazingly heavy question for number one.
Well, that was it. That actually wasn't my first question. I was just kind of like in response to yours.
Well, my answer is it sucks.
Suck it up.
I gotta do what I gotta do. So yeah. Thank you for asking that, by the way. Wow. Woo! I let out a lot. Jesus.
See, that's how you Pisces. The answer is in the answer.
Yeah. No.
Just let it out sometimes. Don't hold it up. Don't pin it in.
So what is your number one?
Well, my number one question was, what is love?
Well, baby, don't hurt me.
No.
No, it better not be that one. I thought about it too, though. I was gonna say, what is love?
But no, my because of the reception on that one, my actual first question. No, okay. My actual first question was, what is the proper way to kill a zombie? Because there's a lot of theories out there, and I don't trust nary a one of them.
Okay, if you
And
ask
in this day and age, folks, you just gotta be prepared. So this here, I'm telling you, is one of the leading experts in this field, if there is one prepared for such an occasion.
All right, because I was already ready to answer.
I know, you're like, I'm on it. I knew it.
Okay, so if you're in the first 2 weeks to the first month of a zombie virus and or a zombie attack, hide, run, move consistently. Always be on the move and have plenty of ammo if you can. When the apocalypse dies down, which is I think kind of closer to what you're asking, but maybe not.
Both, all of it.
Okay, so
it's amazing.
At the end of the day, I do think bow and arrow are the best way to go when it comes to being able to take them out, because you take them out by the head. You know, when you know, everybody knows you kill the brain, you kill the zombie, no matter
right.
Matter
everyone knows. Okay,
yeah, everybody knows that. Everyone knows. This is science. So, I think bow and arrow, because they're retractable. They're also, you can make them on your own. You find a stick in the woods and you carve it out.
Right.
Yeah, so that is a weapon that's always there. A bow and arrow is always there. One way or another, you can always make a bow and arrow, and you can always reuse the arrows. Once the zombie's killed, you take it out of his head. Yep. A little bit of this is
with ammo gets lost inside the body, and then like you're not getting that back.
Right, a little bit of a little bit of this is Walking Dead, but also Zombie Survival Guide, which my kid's dad was heavy into, and he made me read like a couple times over. You know, make sure read this again.
Once is not enough.
Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, long run, bow and arrow. If you practice now and you make and or have plenty of ammo as far as bow and arrows are concerned, that's probably all you need if you have a bird's eye view of the entire territory. Not to suggest you're going to kill thousands of zombies with bows and arrows, but you have a better surviving chance. Guns
for like encounters.
Guns jam. Guns aren't always available. Guns get stolen. If you have one on you during survival times, you're probably going to get robbed for it. So hide it if you do have one. You know, so there's certain.
And the ammo, like for an actual gun, you need a specific bullet for it to like sift through to load the cartridge and everything like that. But
if you ask me,
bow and arrow or slingshot type, or like a
in a survival situation against zombies, a slingshot and a buttload of rocks works better than guns to me.
Right.
Guns are powerful. They're harder to use. They're harder to manage. You know, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know, but I think at the end of the day, a bow and an arrow are probably the best, most efficient way to go. Guns aren't always going to be available. You know, slingshots are harder to make because they need the retraction. Well, I guess bows and arrows too, but I don't know, man. But I really do think bow and arrow is probably the most economic way to go in a long-term survival situation. That's a good question.
That's a good question. So practice your aim, archery classes, right?
Yeah. Also, practice, like I want to get into falconry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's do that. You want to do that?
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's important to have hobbies, at least, at the very least.
Right. Even if they make you look like a crazy lady, have some hobbies. Okay. So, question 2. Let's go to question 2.
Question 2.
That was a long question 1. Jesus, we have to do 21. Okay. Question 2. What is your first memory of us, you and I?
I love that story. So my very first memory of us was when I had been working at a movie theater with some of your like long time friends that you grew up with. So I had like kind of heard of you in passing. You were like the same age and like into some of the same things and stuff like that. And then we met up one day for reasons in the summertime, right as I was graduating high school. So like I had a couple days left or something before graduation, I think. And we were meeting up in Seal Beach, and we were going to like walk around the boardwalk and go to the beach. And you were with your friends, and Mr. Masters of the Nerdiverse was there, and who we've had on this channel in our Simpsons Astrological episode, so he was there. He can attest to it. So we met with you guys and some other friends, and then I was with our mutual friends, and but right before we were like about to like meet up, they told me some things that, oh, this woman you would not like so much because of these reasons. So when we actually like met up, I was like a little weary, and I'm sure you picked up on my energy of like, what's with this chick? Why is she so like on edge? Dude, you're with my, like, come on, you know? And so like we kind of like separated. We didn't get along too much that day. Like we kind of like, we were like there and hanging out and everything, but like I didn't think much of it. And then like later on, we ended up like continuing in that circle and seeing each other more. And there was one time where it was like in the middle of the night, and I didn't want to drive somewhere, and then someone was mocking me, and I said, well, I do say that. And you laughed.
Well, I do say that.
And you laughed, and there was another time we said like, shake harder, boy. And
shake harder, boy.
And then I knew that it was love, that it was forever.
Yeah, no, you guys picked me up from the Anaheim train station at Long Beach Boulevard, and I didn't know you. You're right, absolutely right. I didn't know you, but I knew you.
It was like a blind date.
Just so you know, this person said
really?
the same things about you they said about me. You know, so I was under the same impression, like, who's this bitch? But I'll never forget that.
This is a great follow-up to our feminism episode.
You picked me up from the train station. I was literally about to move in with you guys because it was a big group of us, 6 or 7 of us in one giant house.
No, I met you before then. That was later.
No, yeah, but the Shake Harder boy, the Shake Harder.
Oh, Shake Harder, Shake. Yeah, sorry. Okay, sorry.
Shake Harder boy was what
you picked up the sensation, and we were moving in. Yeah, you're moving in with us.
Yeah. So Shake Harder boy is a story that they picked me up from a train station. Somebody cuts the driver, our friend off. You know, he's driving, and they both look at the guy. They both look at the guy who cuts him off, and they go like this, and he looks at her, and she's like, "Shake harder, boy!" And I was like, "Yeah!" Like, oh my god, it was so fucking hilarious. It's a Simpsons quote. It's from the Simpsons. So anyway,
but that's when we knew that we had the same love language.
But yeah, Simpsons. It was the best. Like I never from that point. I have met one other female who I talked to. So I was literally talking to her right before we got on this podcast. My friend Amy. Yeah. That's the only other person that I do movie quotes with. Or TV quotes with. I'm like, oh my god, like you do that too? Cool. Yeah. Get in.
You got this.
So yeah, that's
good time.
I love it. I'm so happy you brought it up.
That's so funny. We had met once, and then we were like going to be roommates. Huh?
Yes, forever.
And forevermore.
Okay, your question 2.
Okay, my question 2 is, this is a seemingly innocuous one, but what is your #1 beauty secret? Because I have known you for almost 20 years, and not to date us, but like for a while, and I've seen you in like different like phases and like tomboy mode or like mom mode, and you always blah boom. All right, so what's your secret, girl? Come on, don't keep it hidden.
I don't think I have a secret. I think I don't have a secret. I think I'm just young at heart, and I don't think in here I know how old I am in here. Like I still think I'm like 18, 20, 21, 22.
Oh, okay.
That's my only, if that's a secret, that's the only thing I can say is that mentally I'm a child.
Just got that verb. Yeah, got the energy.
But if you think, damn, if I look at damn girl.
Yeah, come on.
But yeah, I think it's more the way I carry myself than, because you know I think I'm frumpy. I think like I think I've had mom bod in many forms. In many forms I've had mom bod. You know, and I don't think that'll ever go away. I embrace it. I don't want mom bod to go away. I like it. But you know, so you know, that being said, I have to adjust my styles to that. I hate jeans. You know what I mean? So I am a stretchy pants lady, but at the same, but I don't know, man. Like.
And I wasn't saying mom bod. I was just saying like mom mode, where like even when you have like the kids all through the house and like you got your hair in a bun and like haven't been able to put on makeup or anything, like you still have like that toot about you, you know, like of just like.
I don't know. I honestly, that has to be it. I haven't aged up here and here. I think that's it. Just you know, and I don't think you have either, by the way, by any means whatsoever. I think we're both very immature.
We were looking at, yeah, well, I think we keep each other young.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We're like in this little like time warp.
like we're children. Obviously, we're adults. We're great mothers. Like, you know, we're you know,
we adults.
We gotta do you know, but this is, you know, we're kids, man. Like, we don't. What's the point of, you know, there's certain things that, you know, me and Miss Kelly will never get our nails done together, or go dress shopping at H&M, or I don't know. There's certain things that I know me and her won't do because that's not our style. It seems like I know me and her would probably go to Nickel and play some arcade games before we would do that.
That's
like, right? That sounds amazing.
That sounds fun. Let's do that.
Yeah. So, like,
are you free after this when we're done recording? I'll come pick you up.
I'm almost 40. Right? So, I mean, I don't see that changing anytime soon. I like it, but I'm happy.
Just brought the kids into our play time.
Exactly. The kids. Exactly. Having like, that's what I'll tell you, dude. I'm going to Kid Vegas. You know, and I'd be going to Chuck E. Cheese with them. Like, yeah, Kid Vegas. And we would cash in, man.
Right. Tickets up the wazoo.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that's it. Just being young at heart.
Yeah.
That was a good question.
Beautiful. I love it.
Number 3. Do you, Miss Kelly,
okay,
have a favorite book?
I should have known that this was coming. I should have known. Actually, you know what? I do. And it's not the one.
I knew
it. And to be clear, folks, like, that is one of my things, is that I have like a mighty library at my house, like bookcases for days. Like, I've had to downsize a bookcase or two several times, like the actual case and everything. You guys got to go with. So I have many a book. The one that I have that is like dear to my heart, though, is Francesca Lia Bloch's Dangerous Angels. And it was introduced to me by my childhood bestie. And so through like adolescence through today, I've had that book and continue to reread it. And yeah, it's very like sweet. It's about this like girl in LA at the end of high school, and then she meets her best friend and falls in love and raises her family, and you follow her through the years. But it's just like the writing is very magical and it's enchanting, where it's like in LA, so they visit all these spots that we actually, you know, are, as SoCal girls are, is part of our world. But then it's very enchanting, where it has like fairies and witches and things like that, but in a very like real way, as we, you know, kind of talk about. And then she's always very descriptive about like what they're wearing and the music they're listening to and what they were eating. And it was just like such a lush life to read it and be in that world, that it really colored my my impression and like the household that I wanted to create for myself and the environment that I wanted to raise my child in. So it was been quite an influence for me. And they've teased us several times that they were going to make a movie for it, and I'm still waiting. So Francesca Lia Bloch, I will tag you in this, and you will respond to me. what's with that? I'm waiting.
Hey, do you remember that book you lent me? That was the book.
Oh, that's my other one that I should have said. That's the real. Well, that's not that it's the real answer, but the other one I would recommend is Ringing Cedars of Russia series by Vladimir. I'm not looking it up right now. You are.
You are.
Cedars of Russia.
You want to fight about it?
I want to fight about it. But it is so good, you guys. It is a long series about a recluse in the taiga of Russia by Vladimir Megre. And it's I believe 9 book maybe series. The last 2 I think have a part 1 and part 2, but it's supposed to be like autobiographical, or like it's supposed to be nonfiction, that this Vladimir Megre guy was a businessman who happened to have a deal that he had to do in the taiga, and as he as he was there, he came across, as he was like hiking, he came across this recluse who had lived there her entire life and subsisted entirely from nature and the stuff that was there, and had this really symbiotic relationship with all the animals, and she knew just what like herbs and everything to eat. And he would come and visit her periodically on his different business trips, especially once he knew that he was there. And he wrote the first book, and as you read through the books, you see how his like consciousness elevates kind of, and even in the way that he's writing his storytelling from one book to another. And as he starts to write the second and third and the rest of the books, he includes like what's happening in his real life in addition to his relationship in the forest and his visits to her. So then he talks about how once the first couple books had come out, that people tried to search for her and go there, and there's like a helicopter, and the people wanted to like capture her so that they could, you know, basically like dissect her brain and all this, because she, even with being a recluse and growing up in the middle of this forest, she had this knowledge of all these like esoteric and eldritch truths. And she was able, even though she didn't know like who the president was of these different countries at that given time, she could say to a T like the dynamic of the government and its people based on like how she could just like feel the presence, I guess, kind of like of the world, and how she knew the systems and the cycles of the way that those things work together. And they would have conversations of like, what's the best way to raise a child? What's the best way to eat and nourish yourself? What is love? Where do we come from? What's the ideal society? What's the best way to like do school for a child? And they give examples of all this. And it really has even influenced communities, especially in Russia, where they actually have built these style of schools and things like that. And in conjunction with this. So I read those series right as I was going through my own journey of learning more about like natural health and chakras and auras and all that kind of new agey stuff. So it really helped me have like some type of tangibility of how to integrate it into the world. And so when we talk about like, they have an entire book about, or sections of a book that's kind of about how the ideal space for a person to own is like 1 hectare of land, which I think is about like 1.5 acres, and that more than that land, you need extra help than just your immediate family to like manage it, and it ends up becoming more of a chore and like business. But if you have just like 1.5 acre of land and you build your house, and they talk about the best way to like meet your soulmate and how to do courting and the best way to develop a relationship. And if you were to like build your house on your hectare of land and to like conceive and birth your child in that house, and then the child's able to take over that house and that land and then raise their own family in it, and that the garden is able to like regenerate with all those generations of love into that one garden, that just like develops the potency and magic and nutritive benefits of it. And they talk about so many different dynamics of existence and life in the universe that I learned so much from it, and I highly recommend it. So that was a wonderful question, my favorite question that could be.
Okay, good. Good. That was a wonderful response.
And thank you for reminding me, because I knew, I was like, oh, what is it? I know it, but wasn't coming to mind until you said that. So thank you very much.
You're very, very welcome.
Because I wanted to say
and
that.
Your number.
Okay. So my next one, are, okay, which one do I want to do? Should I do on the same kind of topic or no? Right.
Nope.
But we'll just bounce around. Okay, my actual next one was, what was your first / and or worst red pill?
Okay, my first and worst red pill, both are the same, coincidentally. So that's a beautiful question. Were the coffins that Alex Jones found in the middle of some field in South Carolina or Tennessee or whatever, where there were these plastic bins that were stacked up in thousands and thousands. I think in that particular field that he was sitting in, it was 700,000 particular coffins that fit 3 to 4 people in one. And they have lids. They have lids. You know, like they're plastic Tupperwares where 3 or 4 bodies can fit.
It's like 6 foot could fit a body.
Right, exactly.
It's stacked up on.
That was the most terrifying thing that I've seen. On top of that's an insane question.
That gives me a goosebumps thinking, like having that visual. I know what you're thinking.
That we've seen and that we study and everybody thinks, oh, you're crazy for thinking that, and that's fine. We can be crazy for thinking that, But these things that we talk about do exist. We've seen them with our own eyes, and YouTube has cleaned the system out. It's purged the entire system. It's going to be very hard to find these videos nowadays. We were fortunate and lucky enough to jump on the bandwagon of the red pill before most people. Thank God. Because we're able to see these patterns that we've been seeing for the last 17, 20 years. And I promise you, I'm trying to make this episode as different as possible from the ones that we've had, but at the same time, we got to put some information out there at the same time. So
it's part of who we are.
Yeah, exactly.
It's part and parcel.
Thank you, Jesus. It's part exactly.
Part of the package.
Yeah, it was the Tupperware coffins that Alex Jones, I'll never forget that video. I'll never forget that day, because that day confirmed for me that they are planning something that will potentially harm every single one of us, where mass human beings are going to pass away, where there's not going to be any choice but to put them in these coffins piled on top of each other. Otherwise, why have them there? They do exist. They still exist today. If you can look them up and find them, by all means, please do so, because they are there. I don't know what state it was. It was definitely a southern state with fields and fields, because it was.
I feel like it was near the Mississippi River.
I think so too.
Might have been like Mississippi or Alabama or one of those, but it was like near an airport, so they already had like a big parking like area, or like grounded, like flattened area that they could store all these in. So it just looks kind of industrial from a bird's eye view. But that was the same time I think we had there was another episode Alex Jones did, or maybe in the same one, that at the time Obama had passed something for like execution by guillotine. So it's
that's right.
Just in case like the power was out.
Years ago, 2008 or 2009. That's what it was. So it was a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah. Years ago. Yeah.
But it was like perfectly paired that if they had to boop 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 and then just toss them in, and then burn or destroy them. And if you wonder like why would they need to hold so much bodies, look up the Georgia Guidestones.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
It's literally written in stone.
There's information on those available to us, because they are, they're a monument. They're a museum. Yes. Like they're basically a museum. So yeah, they'll be there. So yeah, good.
It just popped the Georgia Guidestones too, just for like some what's it, trivia.
Great question.
That like it's not like officially like who built it or founded it. It has like a what's it called, like a pen name type thing, or like a fake name of the person who bought or commissioned for it to be built. So it's kind of anonymously there, but it basically has in several different languages, like maybe like 8 or 12 different languages on these different stones, and it has the same, I think, set of like 10 rules for the perfect humanity, or the perfect like ideal utopian world. And the very first rule is to keep the population at 500 million in perfect accordance with nature. That any more peoples than 500 million is too much. So, oh no, we're at over 7 billion.
Right.
Gonna have to do something about that.
Yeah, they're probably gonna have to sweep us up a little bit. Yeah, you'll have to clean it up.
Yep.
We'll see what happens.
So, like your children.
Okay, so question 4. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. This one's a doozy.
Okay.
4-parter.
What
is scarier?
Wait, what's a what?
What is scarier?
Okay.
Adult penguins, adult dolphins, and why?
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. I had a suspicion that we'd have to go here, just because it needs to be addressed. Okay. So for those that don't know, there are breeds of penguin from age of old who are 6 feet plus. Okay. In the 70s, 80s, or maybe it was even more recent since the 2000s. I forget even what state it was, but there were people of an area, or it happened to snow, that they were tormented by giant footprints of a penguin for decades. And it was later found out to be a hoax, that there was this elderly gentleman who put on like lead, like what was it, like 30-pound lead special shoes in the shape of penguin feet. And that for decades, this elderly 70-something-year-old man had been making these little footprints throughout the snow in the woods of this area. So is there a potential like penguin version of Sasquatch? I can't say there isn't. I don't know. I don't know everything.
Have you ever seen one?
Have you ever seen
not
one?
seen one?
Have you ever not? There you go. Case and point. But so giant penguin, think about it. They are smart. They are like one of those creatures where it's like having like a little cross human thing. Like they mate for life. They have to breathe above water. They don't have like wings for flying. Like they have some odd traits. And if you research back to like the Dogon tribes and things like that, a lot of our ancient civilizations believe that we came from different water creatures. Like some think that we came from monkeys, and that just became like prevalent in the new culture that they, rewrote Darwin to compensate for that. But other cultures think we came from cat people. Some people think that we came from dolphins. So I haven't heard specifically, or maybe I didn't notice and like take hold to it, but who knows if there's a breed of people that came from penguins.
So who's
sounds bizarre, but look up the aquatic ape, okay? First of all, before you start like thinking she's completely lost it. All right, there's stuff there. So on that same note, though, dolphins. Okay, Simpsons hasn't lied to me yet, except for Inauguration Day. Thank God. I'm just kidding. But who knows? Because like Gregorian calendar, you're off by some. So who knows what calendar they were using? I don't know.
At least 2 years.
Right? There's some like 5-second rule, like 2-year period for predictions or something. He's fair. So penguins, right? Again, aquatic mammals, right? And they're very intelligent, and they mate for pleasure, which I'm suspect of. So
gross.
And they're vengeful. They attack each other for like out of spite, out of hate, not just for like food and stuff.
Both
because they got beef.
What's up?
I don't know.
I can't do dolphins.
But Flipper was a warning. So which is more? I mean, I'm gonna say dolphins because I feel like I'm more likely to encounter one. So maybe that's just me as a SoCal girl. If I lived in an Antarctic area, who knows?
But, Good answer. I agree. Dolphins. I agree. If I was going to encounter penguin, it would be penguins, but we're never gonna. You nailed it. Yeah, you're good. You're good. Don't worry. What is your number 4?
Not to say they're not out there, but I'm not going to run my life by them. No, just kidding.
Anyway, no, okay, they're not in charge. They're not in charge of us.
They're not in charge. Okay, so actually, the next one I wanted to ask was, what is now you can take all of these, or depending on how elaborate you go, just pick one. But what is the best, objectively best, not just for you, but objectively best Simpsons episode, character, and moment, or moment?
Mine, oh my God, my number 5 is very similar question. Okay. Okay, my favorite, oh my God, objectively, not mine.
Or both.
I think the best moment on The Simpsons that captures every emotion is the moment where Homer loses his mother and he's sitting on the hood of his car and he's looking at the stars and the credits roll in because he doesn't know what to do with that information. And you can tell that he's very lost. And it does, I don't remember what song is playing or if it ends with music at all, but you can tell that Homer has no idea what to do in that moment.
Wow.
And I think a lot of people resonate with that moment. And sitting on the hood of your car or just sitting in your bedroom and losing a part of you, especially in Homer's situation. He didn't have a very good history or very good relationship with his mom because she was always in and out of his life running from the law because she was she was an activist. You know,
and he didn't know that, right? It was unbeknownst to him that she was why she
was
gone.
He didn't discover that, right? He didn't discover it until she was much older. Wow. And then, she ends up passing away. So as he reunites with his mom when she's in her older age, he also loses her. And again, he doesn't know what to do with that. And it's just a beautiful moment. At the end of the episode, he comes to terms with, yeah, well, she's gone. And I still exactly don't know what to do with myself, but I still have a family that I have to raise. So he drives up to the desert, the same exact desert that he drove back and forth to when visiting her and her hippie friends. There's only 45 minutes of juice left in this man. Yeah, those guys. Yeah, because they ended up getting an electric buggy, which is so cute. But yeah, it's not, I don't think it's all about vulnerability. I think it's everything. It's just sitting there watching Homer with his hands across his knees, looking at the stars and just either thinking about his mom and wondering what she's doing in that moment, and or wondering what's gonna be his next step. And I think that captures the vulnerability of the show as a whole. And that's what makes it status quo so much, is that there's so many real, raw, vulnerable moments. And then you have to like filter them through this yellow human being who doesn't really exist. And I think that's a good, I think it's therapy for a lot of people who watch The Simpsons. So yeah, that's my answer.